You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rudrance for Black and White Sports 2. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts. Now, coming into the Super Bowl, there was a lot of movement around the fact that, oh my goodness, brave, stunning, and courageously, we have two black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl instead of just two good quarterbacks. But, of course, that's how the media rolls, and the media is continuing to roll. And in this case, hey, a site that self-admittingly we go to a lot on this channel. We do. When they stick to football, generally speaking, it's some pretty good information and can be some good takes. However, this one particular take and pointing it out has really backfired on Pro Football Talk because they have decided to point out Jalen Hurts' performance as one of the greatest in Super Bowl history. Except they failed to mention two particular stats and one particular big miss. And PFT is getting their asses drugged in their own comment section for irresponsibly not pointing this out. Now, keep in mind, everybody has come down on Chris Sims for his take. His take has simply been about Jalen Hurts. A lot of quarterbacks could play in this system with this talent. Okay, and excel. He himself has said that. And, of course, they have come after him. Oddly enough, they've called him a racist, even though he's a massive Lamar Jackson fan. I mean, go figure. I mean, come on. Absolutely crazy. For the record, I like Jalen Hurts. But a lot of this production came by way of running the ball. Let's be real here. Okay, and ultimately you do have to throw the ball from the pocket. That said, he has turned out to be a much better quarterback than I thought he would be. Okay, I'm gonna self-admittedly come out and say I totally missed. I watched him at Oklahoma. I watched him at Alabama. Every snap. I did not think he would make it in the NFL. I did not. So he has applied and worked on his craft and has greatly improved. So with that said, I believe that Jalen's got a good head on his shoulders. He's the son of a coach, and he seems like a high-character guy. I like the kid. I do. Now, let's get to PFT in this story because, it didn't work out so well for him. And this got over 100 comments on it very quickly once they put it up. Jalen Hurts had one of the great statistical performances in Super Bowl history. Surprisingly enough, this was not Mike Florio, but Michael David Smith. He runs wide and deep with wokeness. I'm just throwing that out there. It has to be said. When his team loses, a quarterback who plays a great game never gets enough credit. But Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts' performance in Super Bowl 57 should not be overlooked. Hurts had, quite simply, perhaps the finest stat line in Super Bowl history. He carried 15 times for 70 yards and a Super Bowl record for a quarterback. He scored 3 touchdowns, tying the record for any player, regardless of position. He scored 20 points, 3 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion, also tying a record for any player regardless of position. He completed 27 for 38 passes for 304 with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. That's a pretty good stat line. It is. Hurts had 41.16 fantasy points, the second most in Super Bowl history, narrowly trailing my favorite quarterback of all time, Steve Young. 41.90 for the 49ers quarterback Steve Young in 95. They beat the holy shit out of the Chargers in that Super Bowl. If the Eagles had managed to win the game, Hurts would have been the Super Bowl MVP. And an argument could certainly have been made for Hurts that Hurts played better than Patrick Mahomes in Sunday's duel of the two league's best young quarterbacks. Hurts turned in a special performance, one that deserves to be celebrated, even if Eagles fans don't feel like celebrating today. Okay, so that's a pretty impressive stat line. Do you notice what the media decided to do here? The media decided, and look, Michael David Smith, you knew what you were doing. This is irresponsible. It's shitty journalistic work to go out there, write this article, and then fail to mention he fumbled the ball, which was returned for a touchdown. Are you shitting me? I mean, arguably the fumble returned for a touchdown cost the Eagles the Super Bowl, and you did not even bring it up. I mean, come on. Talk about showing blatant media bias to blow up a particular player. Okay? I mean, that's a big miss, and I guarantee you PFT's comment section, and we'll just take a look, drug his ass over it, and Pro Football's ass is over it because they did not bring it up. And the most other obvious statistic, and the one that I consider as Tom Brady being the GOAT, the most important statistic, he didn't get a W, okay? I mean, you can have all these other stat lines. That's great. You didn't get a W. And I don't know at what point our society decided to start celebrating fantasy numbers over winning. I don't know when exactly that happened or why people do it. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, that is the most important stat. Period. Let's get to this. I mean, right out of the gate, Hurts is a great runner. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Also, 1L loss. Don't forget to include the fumble 6 now. 556 up votes to 71 down votes. It's clear people were like, what the hell did you just do? Great stat line indeed. You forgot one more stat. Fumbles, 1. Returned for a touchdown. 428 up, 58 down. This dude just says running back. I mean, look, that got a lot of down votes. I do believe the kid is a quarterback, okay? He is a quarterback. That fumble marred a perfect game for Hurts, and ultimately and unfortunately had a bigger impact on the game than the referees did. Jalen proved he's a top 5 quarterback. Did he? Are we just going straight to top 5? I'm not so sure about that. And quite possibly top 3. I can certainly say, nah, we're not there yet, okay? I mean, unbelievable that they did not bring that up. Only one stat matters at the end, getting the W. Once again, a massive upvote. He fumbled the ball, which was returned for a TD. Did we forget about that? My God. A fumble that resulted in an immediate touchdown is a huge, in caps, mark that you cannot ignore, but all Michael David Smith did. He was special for most of the game, but that big of a turnover cannot be ignored. He also fumbled the ball for a TD. I mean, you know, it's kind of crazy. I guess in this new rating system, you don't get dinged for fumbling away the football that the other team returns for a touchdown? Question mark. That play was a huge momentum swing. Why didn't you mention his fumble that was returned for a touchdown? I mean, you know, they're not wrong, okay? They are absolutely not wrong. Jesus. It's crazy that they would make a point to not bring up the fumble. And, of course, it kind of, you know, it kind of takes a turn from there. But obviously the highest ranked comments in this whole thing is in regards to the one stat that PFT didn't bother to bring up. And it's obvious they made a point to ignore it, which is just irresponsible. He fumbled the ball, and it was returned for a touchdown. And yes, that does matter. It does. And in my opinion, probably keeps you out of the greatest stat line in Super Bowl history, of all time, conversation. You fumbled the ball, it was returned for a touchdown. Yeah, and you didn't win. Pretty unbelievable what the media does. It doesn't surprise us, those of us who are not big fans of the actual mainstream media. For the most part, I like PFT's website. They do good work. And then I see something like this that's got a blatant media bias agenda. And we all know why. We all know why, without having to just come out and say why. Right? What was the most important darling storyline going into the Super Bowl? Tell me what you think, Black and White Sports 2 supporters. Do better, PFT. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.